Moving along to the names, portraits, signatures of individuals portion. If indeed your mark includes any of those items that relate to someone else, you need to have consent from that individual in order to register the mark. Once again, as you get to this level of detail, it'd be very beneficial for you to speak with a trademark attorney. The remaining statements relate to different items as well that a trademark attorney can walk you through. So let's assume that you want to apply for the mark without making an additional statement. At this point, again, all you have to do is include the mark as you want it to be registered here, and then click the Continue button. This next step requires that you add goods or services. This is critically important because keep in mind, your exclusive rights to that mark only relate to your use in connection with a specific set of goods or services. While there's some exceptions to that rule, you must specifically identify your goods or services in order for the mark to be registered. Fortunately, the USPTO provides a search tool that allows you to search what your good or service might be and select from a list of predetermined items. So if we wanted to search for what the good is, let's say chairs, you can enter the term chairs and it will give you several options related to the kinds of chairs that might be at issue. And it's important for you to recognize that it also lists a number here. And this is known as an international class. And an international class is a uniform designation by number that tries to group certain types of goods or services together. If you select more than one international class, you will have to pay an additional filing fee come time for payment. And that additional filing fee is $275 per class. However, if you select multiple entries in the same international class, you do not have to worry about an additional filing fee. So let's say that I'm filing for registration of a mark as it relates to barber's chairs. I check that box and I ask it to insert the checked entries. At this point, you'll see that the mark that I'm applying for pertains to barber's chairs. The next thing that you must do in order for the application to move forward is make a selection of 1A, 1B, or these section 44s which relate to foreign applications. If you've filed for or registered your mark in a foreign country, you can rely upon that mark as you file for this United States Patent and Trademark Office registration. But once again, this is likely a point where you would need the assistance of a trademark attorney. However, if you are actually using the mark right now in connection with barber's chairs, for example, you would click the section 1A. And what that means is you indeed are actually using the mark in commerce. And if you are, it asks for specific information in order for your application to be complete. The first is it requires that you attach a specimen. And what a specimen is it's an example showing how you're actually using the mark in commerce. And this is where the distinction between a trademark, which pertains to goods, and a service mark, which pertains to services, becomes critically important. If you are applying for a trademark, the best kind of specimen shows use of that actual mark either on the good itself, on a hang tag or label, packaging of the good, or something similar. Whereas with a specimen for a service mark, which pertains to a particular kind of service, you can attach such things as a printout of the website or display advertisements. Regardless, you must have a specimen that the USPTO will accept. And the best thing to do is attach it here via a PDF or some other form that's accepted by the USPTO. You must then describe what the specimen is. So if I attached a specimen showing my mark on the back of my barber's chair, I would likely attach a digital photograph of the good, and that will suffice. The next item asks, what's the date of first use of the mark anywhere? And this is the date that you first came up with the mark and actually started to contemplate using it. You can enter that date here. However, the next one is critically important. That's the date of first use of the mark in commerce. In order to secure trademark rights, you must be the first to use the mark in interstate commerce, meaning that you need to actually use the mark and display it in hopes of making sales or actually securing a sale in order to have trademark rights. This date is what you should put here. Now keep in mind, it is important that you have evidence to support whatever date you are going to input. So if you do not have evidence to support it, you might want to consult with a trademark attorney to determine what the best date you can put in there would be. Now, in the event that you don't have all of this information and you have not actually used the mark in commerce yet, you would not want to file the trademark application as a 1A. So you can remove that and instead file what's known as an intent to use trademark. And what that means is that while you have not necessarily made an interstate use in commerce of the mark, you have a bona fide intent to use it in the future. And it's important that your intent be bona fide, meaning that you've actually started some business plans or advertising or printing or something more than coming up with the idea of the mark in your head in case you need to establish that you indeed have a bona fide intent to use the mark. So if you click 1B, it gives you all of the language that you must read and actually agree with before moving forward. If in fact you have made a bona fide intent to use trademark application, you can click here and move on by assigning the filing basis. And what that does is it adds a 1B filing basis to your actual application. Once you've done that, you can either add more goods and services or you can continue on. Now keep in mind, if you want to add more goods and services, the same rules that we've gone through just recently apply. You must have either used the mark in commerce in connection with those particular goods or services or have a bona fide intent to do so. So let's assume that I'm applying for the mark in connection with my intent to use it on barber's chairs. I would then click Continue. The next item asks you to input correspondence information. And this is information related to who the person receiving communications from the USPTO will be. If in fact it's the same as the person filing, as it will be most likely in your case if you don't retain a trademark attorney, you could simply review the information, make sure it's correct, and hit Continue. However, recently the USPTO added this option of having a secondary email address. So if you and your wife are starting a business and have a trademark that you're applying for, you may enter your wife's email address here. Similarly, if you're part of a business, be it a corporation or an LLC, you can add other people from your organization so as to make sure they're also getting notification of anything from the USPTO related to your application. Once you continue, the USPTO provides a total fee for your application. Now, since we only select one class, and it identifies it here, International Class 20, which related to the barber's chairs, the fee is $275. Again, each additional class would be an additional $275. At this point, you can do one of several things in order to submit your application. You could sign it directly with an electronic signature. You can email the text form to a second party for signature, which is unlikely something you would do if you are the one applying for it. Or if you feel comfortable, you can print out via pen and ink and send it in. However, I recommend that you sign it directly. And to indicate your signature, typically you can do your slash marks with your initials. The date will automatically be populated. You need to input your name, and you need to put your position. So if you are the individual owner, you can simply put that you are the owner. If you are part of an organization, such as a limited liability company, you can show that you are a member of that. Or if you're part of a corporation, you can say what your position is, be it president, vice president, or otherwise. Now typically, as a trademark attorney, when I'm filing these applications, I note that I am the attorney of record and a member of the Michigan Bar. However, you cannot do that because you're likely not an attorney if you're listening to this and trying to file on your own. And then ultimately it also asks for the signatory's phone number. Again, this is not required because it doesn't have the asterisk next to it. You must then either add a signatory if you want someone else to be part of the application, or simply validate it. When you validate, you might get the warning message again that says this phone number was missing, but since it's optional, it's not something you need to worry about. And this next page shows you several pieces of information. The first is what's known as input, and if you click on that, it allows you to review all the information that you input into the application. More than that, you can view or save this as a PDF if you want to. If not, you can hit the back button. The next one is the mark, and if you click on this, it again shows you exactly what the mark is you're applying for. So since we chose a standard character mark, it is just for mark. But if we chose a specialized form, such as the logo or stylized design, it would actually show that. The XML file is something that can be of particular use to you. If you are unsure about your application or have questions that you want to speak to a trademark attorney about, you'd be well served to click on the XML file and see that it has all the information that you could use if you need to go back into the application. And it gives you the ability to actually download that XML file at the bottom of the screen. You can click Download Portable Data, and you can save the file. And you should save it to your computer so that if you do work with a trademark attorney or someone else who has an understanding of the trademark registration process, you can go back in and modify it, make the necessary changes before filing. Assuming that you're ready to move forward to finalization, you must input your email address twice, and they must match exactly. And finally, you must read and click that you have read and understand the notice relating to your rights of confidentiality or lack thereof and other important information. Once you do that, you can click the Pay or Submit button, which will require you to make a payment via either credit card, by deposit account, or EFT user account, which are options that are all available. Most will be paying by credit card. If you click that, you can input your credit card information. You will hit Continue, and it'll give you a final opportunity to review the information, and then click Submit. And once you submit, you will get a confirmation on the screen showing that your mark has been submitted to the USPTO. You will get what's known as a serial number, which is a unique number that allows you to track that information. And you should get an email to the email address you used showing what your mark is and that it was actually successfully applied for. So I hope this has been helpful for you if you're looking to apply for a trademark registration with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Obviously, this is not a complete statement of all the legal ramifications related to the process, but it does give you enough information to help you get started. If you have questions related to your particular kind of trademark or service mark, the application process, or how to actually use, protect, and maintain your trademark rights, you'd be well served speaking with a trademark attorney such as myself. Once again, this has been Brian Hall, a trademark attorney with Traverse Legal PLC. If you want to contact me, you can visit my website, www.traverselegal.com, and you can contact me via my phone number, 866-936-7447, or you can contact me via email. And my email address is brianhall@traverselegal.com. Thank you and good luck.